This is Biz Buzz Radio on TV. I'm Katherine Johns. My guest is Gary Whitaker, the publisher of 417 magazine. So 417, named for the area code in Springfield, Missouri, yes?
Right.
And here's what I don't get. Magazines are going out of business left and right. Do you know that the Sun-Times here in Chicago fired its whole staff of photographers?
Wow.
Can you imagine, like a newspaper with no photographers? So the publishing business is obviously not the business to be in unless you're in Springfield, Missouri.
Well, no, the publishing business is a very good business to be in if you're publishing the right kind of information.
So that's what I want to know. What's the right kind?
The stuff that has a high spoilage factor, the daily newspaper, it's information this morning, by this afternoon it's been replaced by something else. If you think about Time and Newsweek magazine, once upon a time those were thought of as instant analysis news vehicles.
Right.
Now, instant analysis is 30 minutes from now, a cable show is going to have an analysis of what's going on. So you see Time, Newsweek, U.S. News and World Report, daily newspapers struggle because their information is so quickly perishable. We publish a lifestyle magazine, similar to a niche magazine. If you were a hobbyist and you were a garden person, I mean, the how to grow, tomatoes isn't news this morning and not news this afternoon. So those end up being resource guides.
Okay.
And our magazine is a resource guide to how to live the best life you can in Springfield, Missouri. Where to eat, what shows to go to, best neighborhoods to live, best places to shop, what concerts are coming to town, what shows are coming to town. So people hang on to it. We have a third-party audit company that measures our audience. It's sort of like a ratings company
Sure.
for radio or TV. And for us, they call our subscribers and ask them, information about what do you buy, what do you like, what do you read, and then one of the questions they ask is how long do you hang on to an issue of 417 magazine?
Okay, how
And the
long
average-
do they?
6 months.
Jeez.
They keep it for 6 months.
Those
So-
are hoarders, those readers.
well, but
Tell them to clear out their clutter.
But we do. It's similar for people who are would not be familiar with 417 the area code. We are in the same magazine association as Chicago Magazine,
Right.
so people are familiar with that. They do Top Doctors and the 20 most interesting new restaurants.
Sure.
Well, people keep those around for 6 months at a time to sample those restaurants, or if they ever get sick, who was that top doctor? As according to Chicago Magazine. So there are less news magazines that grow old quickly and turn into bottom of a bird cage. They are kept as resource guides for
All right.
6 months at a time.
So here's my question. How do you get advertisers? Because, of course, you sell magazines and then they want to be in the magazine. But that seems to be a huge issue for magazines, TV and radio stations. Everybody's struggling to get advertisers. How do you get people to sign up for 417?
Well, first of all, you prove to an advertiser that you have 100,000 people reading the magazine every month, that they're keeping it for 6 months.
Okay.
And if you think about the kind of magazine that we produce, where people who are wanting to know where are the best restaurants, who are the hot artists that are coming to town in concert, or where are the new boutiques, those people tend to be the highest earners. We only have about 20% of the market reading our magazine, but they represent 60% of the buying power.
Ah.
So those advertisers buy an ad, know that ad's going to be seen multiple times over
Right.
6 months, and that's how we attract them.
And so how does somebody get started in a business like that? Do you think somebody could just start a magazine now in this economy?
You were talking about the ones that have folded.
Yeah.
There are dozens of magazines being started all the time.
Really?
Usually niche magazines because of they have a special interest group. I use the reference of Skin Diver magazine. When I learned to scuba dive, I subscribed to Skin Diver magazine because it had stories about where to scuba dive.
Makes sense.
But right next to it, it had advertising on what equipment to buy.
Right.
So the advertising was as valuable to me as the editorial because it was solving a problem for me, both in the editorial and in the advertising.
So a magazine like that can still flourish.
If you find a niche that's not being filled, and you can prove that your readership is engaged and they will buy the products that are associated with that niche, whether it's motorcycle riding or gardening or knitting or whatever, yes, you can do it.
All right, I'm going to search for a niche. I want a magazine too. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. All right, so my guest is Gary Whitaker, and so far I am not a magazine. I'm just a TV show and a radio show, which isn't bad. We're like a multimedia empire when you think about it. This is Biz Buzz Radio on TV, and Biz Buzz is part of the Linked Local Network. Link locally, connect globally.